Hello and welcome to Get Decked, the video series where I make budget Magic the Gathering decks for your casual games night and to introduce friends and family members to the game. So let's talk about quickly, before I get into it, what we've got coming up in the next 5 episodes. Um, if you've been keeping an eye on my community page, tab, whatever, recently, you'll see I've been saying a lot about doing decks for Bloombarrow, kind of like I did for Thunder Junction, where it's decks based around the two-colored draft archetypes, and these are basically almost completely done. However, I'm not quite ready to record them yet. Two reasons. Firstly, Tapped Out, which is the deck builder website that I use, is still failing to recognize quite a few cards that are in each of these decks, and I like to present the deck list as accurately as possible when I make the video. And secondly, prices for some cards still kind of all over the place. I just can't. I want to really make sure I stay within my budget guidelines, and at the moment, like, prices for some of the rares that I've got in some of these decks are a bit all over the place. Like, just to go into a bit too much into the weeds, like in the Frog March one, I've got like a couple of rares in there which I think go really well with the deck, and some sites are saying they're like $2, some are saying they're 10. Like, they're all over the place. So I kind of want to let a bit of the hype die down a bit before I actually go ahead and record these, and just make sure I'm kind of following my own rules. But so I'll explain what I'm doing in this video and the next few Get Decked videos. So basically, I had some ideas for some decks already, which I wanted to get out there, and because they kept getting pushed back by Bloomberg and Thunder Junction and stuff, and now by the dual deck videos I've got going on at the minute. And I really want to get these decks out there in videos, because the longer I leave them, because I made these decks about 3 months ago. The longer I leave them, the kind of more out of date they're going to be, and I don't want to risk, like, holding on to these decks and like new cards come out and like completely changing the decks. There's a whole chance of that. So I thought, what we'll do until the Bloombarrow ones are ready to go, I will get these 5 out and done, just so it's some extra content, and just see what people think of them before we go back into the Bloombarrow stuff. Because I seem to have now set myself this task of, whenever a new set comes out, I'm going to make decks based on like the 2-color archetypes, which I think is that's a good repeatable way of content. But I do have the other decks as well, not tied to sets, that I want to keep doing. Anyway, monologue over. Let's get into this deck. Which is called Teeny Meanies. So what I'm doing for these 5 as well is doing tricolor decks, which is not something I've really ever built before. I don't have a lot of experience building 3-color decks, and I thought it'd be like a fun challenge to set myself. I know obviously 3-color is like popular in, say, Commander, but like, is it as popular in 60-card casual constructor? I don't know. But a little experiment I set myself, just to see if we can have 5 triple color decks. It was kind of hard because for the most part, I don't really know how to build tricolor decks, but we'll see how we went, and we'll see what you think of it, and yeah, we'll just have some fun with it. So this is the first one, Teeny Meanies, which is in Mardu colors. So first, before we get into the deck list, let's remind ourselves of the rules for Get Decked. So these decks are 60 cards. They're designed for 1v1 games. There's no format restrictions. The decks are mostly made up of commons and uncommons. No cards that are more than $2 at time recording. I refer you back to what I was saying about Bloomberg. We limit ourselves to 12 different non-land cards, which is a good mix of variety and consistency. Strong themes, low to mid complexity. Easy for a new player to pick up and play and understand. But just because it's a casual deck doesn't mean it has to be weak or bad. So yeah, let's dive into it and look at Teeny Meanies. So we've got 28 creatures, 8 sorceries, and 24 land. Mana curve off to the side there. Do not be scared by that 9. It is because of Dusk and Dawn. Let's just get that. Let's just get out of the way now. We don't have anything that costs 9 in here. Dusk and Dawn is really messing up that mana curve. But the whole theme of this deck, as we get into it, is mostly creature based. Because I thought that's obviously like what Mardu does best, kind of like a whole bunch of like small cheap creatures. We'll see how the deck's going to do that. So first, we're going to talk about how we're winning. So we've got a big theme in here of basically power 2 or less matters, which was actually, I think, one of the draft archetypes for Murders at Karlov Manor. So, and basically just cheap creatures going wide. So and sort of abusing ETB effects as well. So first we've got 4 resolute reinforcements. So 1 white for a 1/1 with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, you make a 1/1 white soldier creature token, which is fine. Just makes like 2 bodies for 2 mana, which is absolutely fine. It having flash is nice, so it can suddenly come in and jump block, or you do it end of an opponent's turn. It's ready to attack next turn. 3 Attended Knight, which is a card I quite like. Have a lot of copies of it from my M13 days. So 2 and white for a 2/2 with first strike, and when it enters the battlefield, you make a soldier creature token, so you're almost exactly the same as resolute reinforcements. And then we've got 3 twin shot snipers, so 3 in red for a 2/3 with reach, and when it enters the battlefield, does 2 damage to any target, so just shock something. And you can channel it by paying 1 in red, you can discard it, and it does 2 damage to any target. So you can either cast it, and it's like an okay sort of like Aussie blocker attacker, or you can channel it, and it's like a slightly more expensive shock. So I think in both those instances, actually pretty good. And then we've got 4 Typhoid Rats, which is just nice, super cheap, 1 black for a 1/1 with Death Touch, which means people really reluctant to attack into it or block it, because you don't want to lose like a real creature just to some rats, right? So yeah, I really like Typhoid Rats. So now I'm going to talk about what helps us win, and this is, I think, where the main glue of the deck actually is. So first of all, we're having 4 Alicia who smiles at death. So 2 in a red for 3/2 with first strike, and whenever Alicia attacks, you can pay 2 Orzhov hybrid mana. And if you do, you return a creature card with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped and attacking. That is basically every creature in the deck apart from Alicia, which is why we've got 4 Alicias. So like we've got a bit of redundancy if we lose one. And it's also why we've got so many creatures we've got with ETB effects. So we could channel Twin Shot Sniper, bring it back, it comes back in, and then it gets to its ETB again. With the Typhoid Rats, that's obviously good. Sort of like attacker, it can just keep swinging as a 1/1 Death Touch attacker. We got the Knight and the Resolute Reinforcements who come in and make creature tokens. And as we'll see, we got more creatures as well with ETB effects as well that can really benefit from dying, which they probably will because they're small creatures. They got low toughness, but then Alicia can bring them back. So Alicia is like one of the most important cards in the deck, obviously. Want to keep her alive as much as possible. And then we've got 2 Subira, Tulzidi Caravana. So 2 in a red for a 2/3 with haste. You can pay 1 to make a target creature with power 2 or less unblockable for a turn. Again, that is pretty much every creature in the deck apart from Alicia. And you can also do this other ability, which I think is really cool. So you can pay 1 red, tap, discard your whole hand, and until end of turn, whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. So obviously these two abilities go really nicely with each other. You pay 1 red, discard your higher hand, and then make say like 3 or 4 other small creatures unblockable. They swing in, and you draw like 4 cards, and and then you've got like a lot more gas. So I really like Subira. I think that's a really cool design. And then sort of cheating a little bit, I hear it feels almost. So from the Fallout Universe Beyond set, we got 2 McCready Lamplight Mare, so white and a black for a 1/3. Whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks, that's pretty much everything apart from Alicia. It gains Skulk until intent, so it can't be blocked by creatures with greater power, so it's just another way of getting our small stuff, a form of evasion. And whenever a creature with power 4 or greater attacks us, the controller loses 2 life and we gain 2 life, so it takes a little bit of a sting out of being attacked by bigger creatures. So again, really like McCready, and again, it's another thing that Alicia can reanimate as well, and then it obviously gives itself its effect. When it gains, it doesn't actually know because it's an attack trigger, so it won't get Skulk itself, but whatever. It's just a really nice effect, I think, that synergizes well with all the small creatures we've got. We've got 3 Mentor of the Meek for more card draw as well, so 2 and white for a 2/2. Whenever a creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield on your control, you pay 1. If you do, draw a card. This is really nice. Goes obviously well with the Knight and the Reinforcements who make tokens, so you get 2 card draws out of it. So yeah, we've got 3 Mentor of the Meek, which is really nice. We've got 3 Helping Hands. This is basically our only way of getting Alicia back if she dies. So 1 white mana, sorcery speed, you return a creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. I think 1 white mana to do a reanimate effect is, even though it's obviously limited, I think is really, by mana value, I think is pretty solid, I think. And then to keep giving us forms of evasion, we've got 4 escape tunnels. So this is, I'm kind of sad actually, because this invalidates Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds, which some of my favorite like budget land searching cards. So Escape Tunnel, you either tap it, sacrifice it, and it's, as I say, it's Terramorphic Expanse. You search up basic land, or you can tap, sacrifice it to make a creature with power 2 or less unblockable for a turn, again, which is everything in the deck apart from Alicia. So it has that nice little bit of synergy, and it's, I think it's nice early on. You can tap it, sacrifice it, help smooth out your mana because we playing 3 colors, so we really want to help that. Or late game, this might help you get a win in, I suppose. And now we're going to quickly talk about what stops them winning. So this is like removal options to mess with our opponent's plans. So we've got 3 Ravenous Chupacabra, so 2 in double black for a 2/2. When it ends the battlefield, you destroy a creature an opponent controls. So it's got power 2 or less, and it's got an ETB effect. So this is absolute gold with Alicia, because it can come in. Obviously, it comes in, taps and attacking, kills something with its ability. Might get chumped and killed if someone really wants to do that, and you can just keep bringing it back. Can't bring it back with Helping Hand. I think it's the only creature in the deck you can't actually bring back with Helping Hand. But it's a really, really solid ability, I think. We've got 3 Rite of Oblivion, white and a black. As additional cost to cast it, you have to sacrifice a non-land permanent, which is fine. We kind of got some things that make tokens, so this is okay to sacrifice stuff at, and also we can get it back with Alicia. You exile a non-land permanent, so this lets us hit troublesome artifacts and enchantments, and you can also flash it back as well for 2 white and a black as well, which is so I think it's just an okay like Swiss Army knife, sort of hits everything that we need it to hit. And then this is the thing that makes the mana curve spike weirdly. So we've got 2 Dusk and Dawn. So you initially cast it as Dusk for 2 and double white. You destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. Does unfortunately hit Alicia, but that's what Helping Hand is for. Everything else it leaves untouched. And then when it's in your graveyard, you can cast it as Dawn, which is where you return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard back to your hand. And then obviously you can just recast them. So yeah, I thought it'd be fun to include this as a board wipe and a mass kind of recursion spell. I thought that'd be kind of fun to have that. And then quickly talk about the mana base. Pretty simple. We got Escape Tunnel already, as a kind of way of searching up the missing colors or whatever. But yep, so 9 plains, 6 swamps, and 5 mountains. So pretty straightforward. So I'd love to know what you think about this deck. Do you like the idea of winning through a bunch of like small creatures that you keep reanimating with Alicia? Is there any other cards that you think could fit in really well here? Are there any swaps you'd make? Is there maybe some sort of obvious combo piece I've missed that would make the deck even better? Like, stick a comment down below if you've got any suggestions or thoughts or comments, anything like that. And we'll be back next time with another 3-colored budget deck for Get Decked. But I hope you join me for that. But until then, thanks for watching, listening, and have a great day.